The shuttle moved through the darkness of space, carrying Ambassador Hyunwoo Park toward the massive alien station. He sat quietly, watching Jupiter grow larger through the window. The giant planet looked peaceful, but Hyunwoo knew this meeting would change everything for humanity. The Galactic Council station was enormous. It stretched for miles in every direction, covered in lights and strange symbols. Dozens of alien ships surrounded it like guards. Hyunwoo had seen pictures, but nothing prepared him for the real thing. Beside him, Dr. Jia Kim checked her tablet for the 100th time. She was nervous, though she tried to hide it. "Ready?" Hyunwoo asked her. Jia nodded. "As ready as I'll ever be to meet aliens who think they own the galaxy." The shuttle docked with a soft thump. The doors opened and they walked into a world unlike anything on Earth. The corridor was huge, built for creatures much larger than humans. The air smelled strange, like metal and something sweet. Lights pulsed in colors that hurt to look at. Their escort was a tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms. It didn't speak, just gestured for them to follow. They walked for what felt like hours through endless hallways. Finally, they reached a massive chamber. This was the council hall. 12 aliens sat on high platforms arranged in a circle. Each one looked completely different. Some had scales, others had fur. One looked like it was made of living crystal. Another seemed to be just energy held in a containment field. They all stared down at the humans with eyes that showed no warmth. The largest alien spoke first. Its voice came through a translator device that made it sound mechanical and cold. "Humans of Earth, I am High Chancellor Vexthor. We have watched your species for many cycles. You have developed quickly. Too quickly, perhaps. You have split the atom. You have left your world. You have begun to spread into your system. This cannot continue without guidance." Hyunwoo stepped forward. "We appreciate your concern, but humanity has managed its own affairs for thousands of years." Vexthor made a sound like grinding rocks. Maybe it was laughter. "Managed? You have fought countless wars. You have polluted your world. You create weapons instead of art. You are children playing with fire. The galaxy cannot afford another violent species running loose. That's why we're here," another council member added. This one had multiple eyes on stalks. "To offer you membership, to civilize you, to make you part of something greater." Jia whispered to Hyunwoo. "They talk about us like we're animals." A holographic document appeared in the air before them. It was massive, thousands of pages long. Vexthor gestured toward it. "These are the terms of membership. You will accept council authority over all matters of technology, expansion, and military force. You will limit your population growth. You will provide resources to the council. You will allow council observers in all your governments. You will restrict your expansion to your home system for the next 200 years. In return, you receive our protection and access to some of our knowledge." Hyunwoo read through the terms on his tablet. Each line was worse than the last. Humanity would give up everything that made them free. They would become servants, and if we refuse? He asked. The chamber went silent. Several aliens shifted uncomfortably. Clearly, no one refused the council. Vexthor leaned forward. "Refusal is unwise. The galaxy is dangerous. There are species that would see Earth as a resource to exploit. Without council protection, humanity would be vulnerable, and the council itself might view an uncontrolled species as a threat. We would be forced to contain you, to limit you by force." "You're threatening us," Jia said quietly. "We are explaining reality," Vexthor replied. "Every species joins the council. It is the way of things. You are not special. You are not different. You will join or you will suffer." Hyunwoo kept his face calm, but inside he was angry. These aliens had come to Earth's doorstep with threats dressed up as friendship. They expected humans to bow and accept slavery with a smile. "We need time to consider," Hyunwoo said. "Of course, you have 30 days. Return here with your answer. Choose wisely, Ambassador. The council's patience has limits." The meeting ended. As the escort led them back to their shuttle, Jia grabbed Hyunwoo's arm. "They're not offering us a choice," she said. "They're giving us an ultimatum." "I know," Hyunwoo replied. "And now Earth needs to decide how we respond to bullies who think they own the stars." The shuttle left the station, heading back toward Earth. Behind them, the council watched, confident that the humans would surrender. They had no idea what was coming. The stealth ship Defiant Dawn drifted silently through the outer edges of a council-controlled system. Captain Tae-Yang Lee watched the scanner displays with sharp eyes. His ship was painted black, covered in technology that made it nearly invisible. The council didn't know humans were here. That was exactly how Taeyang wanted it. "We're picking up signals from the planet," said engineer Sojin Choi from her station. "Lots of them. This place is heavily populated. What kind of world is it?" Taeyang asked. Sojin pulled up data on her screen. "According to council records we stole, this is Valara, home to the Velaran people. They joined the council 80 years ago. Population of 3 billion. Let's take a closer look." The Defiant Dawn moved deeper into the system, staying hidden in the shadow of a large moon. As they got closer to Valara, Taeyang could see the planet through the view screen. It was beautiful, covered in blue oceans and green continents, but something was wrong. "Captain, I'm seeing massive strip mining operations," Sojin reported. "Entire mountain ranges are being torn apart. And look at these cities. They're overcrowded. Buildings stacked on top of buildings. It looks like poverty." Taeyang zoomed in with the ship's cameras. What he saw made his stomach turn. The Valaran people lived in terrible conditions. Their cities were falling apart. Factories pumped black smoke into the air. The mines scarred the planet like wounds. "Where are the council species?" Taeyang asked. Sojin scanned again. "There, in orbit. 3 massive luxury stations. And on the planet's surface, there's a protected zone. Looks like a paradise compared to the rest of the planet. That's where the council overseers live." It was clear what was happening. The Valaran people were slaves in everything but name. They mined resources for the council. They worked in factories for the council, and the council species lived in luxury while the natives suffered. "This is what they wanted to do to Earth," Taeyang said quietly. "This is what membership really means." "Captain, I'm picking up encrypted council transmissions. Give me a minute to crack them." Sojin was the best hacker in the human fleet. Her fingers flew across her keyboard as she broke through the alien encryption. It took 30 minutes, but she got in. "I'm into their database," she said, her voice excited. "Downloading everything. Their records, their communications, their—" "Oh no, what is it?" Sojin's face had gone pale. "Captain, there are 47 species under council control. Every single one was forced to accept the same terms were being offered. And every single one is being exploited just like the Valarans. The council takes their resources, controls their governments, and treats them like servants. Some species have been under council rule for over 500 years. Taeyang felt cold anger building inside him. "Keep downloading. We need all of it." Over the next few hours, Sojin pulled every piece of data she could from the council networks. The truth was even worse than they thought. The council was built on oppression. The 12 ruling species had conquered the galaxy slowly, using treaties and agreements instead of open war. They made species think they were joining a friendship, but it was really a trap. "I've got testimonies here from dozens of species," Sojin said, reading through the files. "They all tell the same story. Join the council or be destroyed. And once you join, you can never leave. Any species that tried to rebel was crushed. Their leaders executed. Their worlds bombed from orbit. Send everything to Earth Command," Taeyang ordered. "President Song needs to see this." The data transmission took hours. It was heavily encrypted and sent in short bursts to avoid detection. Finally, the last file was sent. "Done," Sojin confirmed. "Earth has everything." Back on Earth, President Da-Win Song sat in the command center deep beneath the Korean peninsula. Screens surrounded her, showing data from across the solar system. Her advisors stood nearby, all of them reading the reports from the Defiant Dawn. "It's worse than we thought," said Defense Minister Kyung-Soo Bae. "The council isn't a federation, it's an empire. And they want to add us to their collection of slave species." Da-Yun read through the testimonies, stories of families torn apart, of children forced to work in mines, of entire cultures being erased. The council spoke of peace and cooperation, but they practiced tyranny. "We cannot accept their terms," Da-Yun said firmly. "I will not condemn humanity to this fate." "Then we need to be ready for war," replied Admiral Jae-Sung Kang. "The council doesn't accept rejection. When we say no, they'll come for us." Da-Yun looked at the admiral. "Are we ready?" "We've been preparing since first contact," Jae-Sung said. "Our scientists have been working around the clock. Our factories are producing weapons. Our people are united. If the council wants a war, we'll give them one they'll never forget." "Then we proceed with the plan," Da-Yun decided. "Alert all military forces. Begin final preparations. And get Ambassador Hyunwoo ready. In 30 days, he's going to walk into that council chamber and tell them that humanity will never bow. The room was silent for a moment. Everyone understood what this meant. Humanity was about to declare independence from an empire that controlled most of the galaxy. It was the most dangerous decision any human leader had ever made, but it was also the only choice they could make and still remain free. One more thing, Darwin added. Make sure the council doesn't know what we're doing. Let them think we're considering their offer. Let them think we're scared. When the time comes, their surprise will be our advantage. Orders went out across the solar system. Humanity prepared for war in secret, while the council waited for their expected surrender. Admiral Jae-sung Kang floated in zero gravity inside the command center of the hidden military base. The base was built inside a hollowed-out asteroid in the belt between Mars and Jupiter. From the outside, it looked like any other space rock. Inside, it was a fortress. Status report, Jae-sung ordered. Commander Dongmin Han pulled up displays on the holographic screen. All construction is on schedule, sir. We now have 240 warships ready for combat. Another 100 will be complete within 3 weeks. The defense platforms around Earth, Mars, and the major stations are all operational. Jae-sung nodded. The ships were good, but they needed to be better than good. They needed to be superior to anything the Council could throw at them. What about the new weapons? Dr. Young-Mi Han says the railgun batteries exceeded expectations in testing. They can punch through standard Council shields with one shot. The missile systems are ready, and the experimental plasma cannons are being installed on the flagship. On Mars, inside a research facility buried under the red sand, Dr. Young-Mi Han watched as her team tested the latest weapon. She was humanity's leading weapons scientist, and for the past year, she had been reverse engineering every piece of alien technology they could get their hands on. A captured Council fighter sat in the middle of the testing bay. It was small, about the size of a human jet, but it had shields, energy weapons, and a reactor that produced incredible power. Fire, Young-Mi ordered. A railgun mounted on the test platform roared to life. A metal slug accelerated to a fraction of light speed and struck the fighter's shields. The shields flashed bright blue, held for a second, then collapsed. The slug tore through the fighter's hull like paper. Perfect, Young-Mi said with satisfaction. The Council shields can't handle kinetic weapons at that velocity. They're designed to stop energy weapons, not solid projectiles. Her assistant, researcher Hae-in Park, was already taking notes. The Council has been so dominant for so long they stopped innovating. They think their technology is perfect. That's their weakness, Young-Mi agreed. They've been fighting the same way for centuries. We've been at war with each other for our entire history. We know how to adapt. We know how to find advantages. Young-Mi moved to another section of the lab. Here, teams were working on stealth technology. Humanity had always been good at hiding. Now they were applying those skills to space warfare. How are the cloaking systems? She asked engineer Bora Shin. Working better than expected, Bora replied. We can make our ships nearly invisible to Council sensors. They use standard electromagnetic detection. We've developed hull coatings that absorb those frequencies. By the time they see us, we'll already be firing. Across the solar system, thousands of people were working in secret. On Europa, factories carved into the ice produced ammunition and supplies. On Earth's moon, underground shipyards assembled vessels in complete darkness. In Earth orbit, crews installed weapon platforms, disguised as commercial satellites. Intelligence. Director Min Ho-yoon coordinated it all, from a secure facility in Seoul. His job was to make sure the Council never suspected what humanity was doing. We've intercepted another Council. Communication, his analyst agent Sue Ali reported. They're discussing humanity's decision. They're confident we'll accept their terms. Good, Min-ho said. Let them stay confident. Have our agents reported any unusual Council activity? Nothing. They're conducting business as usual. No military buildup. No increased patrols. They don't see us as a threat. Min-ho allowed himself a small smile. The Council's arrogance was their weakness. They had dominated the galaxy for so long that they couldn't imagine anyone challenging them, especially not a young species like humanity. What about the suppressed species? Min-ho asked. The ones under Council control? Sua pulled up a map showing the 47 species that served the Council. We've made contact with resistance groups in 23 of them. They're small, poorly equipped, but they're willing to help if we succeed. They'll provide intelligence and potentially sabotage Council operations. Keep those channels open. When the war starts, we'll need every advantage. Back in the asteroid base, Admiral Jae-sung reviewed the battle plans for the 100th time. He had been a military officer for 30 years. He had studied every war in human history. Now he was preparing for the most important battle humanity would ever fight. His second-in-command, Captain Yunji Song, joined him at the tactical display. "The ships are good," she said. "The weapons are good. The people are ready. But Admiral, we're still one species against an empire. The Council has thousands of ships. They control hundreds of worlds. Even if we win the first battle, can we win the war?" Jae-sung looked at the display showing the solar system. Every planet, every moon, every asteroid base showed green. Humanity was united in a way it had never been before. For the first time in history, every nation on Earth was working together toward a single goal. "The Council expects us to fight like they do," Jae-sung explained. "Ship against ship in open space. But we're not going to do that. We're going to fight like humans. We'll use ambushes, traps, deception. We'll hit them when they're not ready. We'll make them afraid to enter our space." "Guerrilla warfare on a galactic scale," Yoonji said, understanding. "Exactly. The Council has numbers and technology, but we have something they lost a long time ago. We have the will to fight for our freedom. We have creativity. We have desperation. Those are the weapons that win wars." The preparations continued day and night. Pilots trained in simulators. Marines practiced boarding actions. Engineers tested weapons until they were perfect. Scientists pushed the limits of physics to find new advantages. President Dae-Yun Song visited military bases and factories, speaking to the people. She told them the truth about the Council. She showed them what waited for humanity if they failed. And she reminded them what they were fighting for. "Freedom is not given," she told a group of ship crews at the Mars shipyard. "It is taken. It is defended. It is earned with blood and sacrifice. The Council thinks we will surrender because we are young. Because we are weak? They are wrong. We are humanity. We bow to no one," the crews cheered. Across the solar system, billions of humans prepared for the day when they would tell the Council to its face that Earth would never be conquered. The 30 days were almost over. The 30 days passed quickly. Ambassador Hyunwoo Park stood once again in the shuttle heading toward the Council station. This time he was not nervous. This time he knew exactly what he was going to say. Dr. Jia Kim sat beside him, along with 2 security officers. The shuttle also carried a diplomatic case containing all the evidence they had gathered about the Council's crimes. "Are you ready to make history?" Jia asked. Hyunwoo smiled. "I've been ready since the day they threatened us." The shuttle docked at the station. The same 4-armed alien escort met them, but this time Hyunwoo noticed something different. The alien seemed excited, almost eager. It probably expected the humans to surrender today. They walked through the massive corridors to the Council hall. The 12 aliens sat in their high positions, looking down at the humans. High Chancellor Vexthor leaned forward, his large form casting a shadow. "Ambassador Park," Vexthor said, 30 days have passed. Have you brought your species' acceptance of our generous terms?" Hyunwoo walked to the center of the chamber. He stood straight, his voice clear and strong. "High Chancellor, members of the Galactic Council, I bring you the decision of humanity. After careful consideration, after reviewing your terms, after understanding what membership truly means, humanity must decline your offer." The chamber went completely silent. Several of the council members shifted in surprise. One of them, a creature covered in crystalline growths, made a sound like breaking glass. "Decline?" Vexthor repeated as if he had not heard correctly. "You refuse membership?" "That is correct," Hyunwoo said calmly. "We respectfully decline." Another council member, one that looked like a floating mass of tentacles, spoke up. "You do not understand what you are saying. No species refuses the council. Membership is not optional for species that reach space travel capability." "Then perhaps it should be," Hyunwoo replied, "because humanity will not accept your terms." Jia stepped forward and activated a holographic projector. Images filled the chamber. Pictures of the Velaran people working in terrible conditions. Videos of other species living in poverty while council members lived in luxury. Documents showing the truth about council membership. "We know what you are," Hyunwoo said. "You're not a federation. You're not protectors. You're conquerors who use treaties instead of weapons. You enslave species and call it cooperation. You steal resources and call it taxation. You destroy cultures and call it civilization." Vexthor's eyes narrowed dangerously. "You dare to spy on the council? You dare to accuse us?" "We dare to tell the truth," Jia said. We have evidence of 47 species under your control. All of them forced into membership. All of them exploited. You wanted to do the same to humanity. We're here to tell you that will never happen. The council members began speaking among themselves in various alien languages. The translators struggled to keep up. Hyunwoo could tell they were angry. Perhaps they were also embarrassed that their secrets had been exposed. Your evidence means nothing, said the tentacled alien. The species under our guidance are better off than they were alone. We protect them from the dangers of the galaxy. You protect them like a prison protects inmates, Hyunwoo shot back. You've created a system where you benefit and everyone else suffers. That's not protection. That's exploitation. Vexthor stood up from his seat. He was enormous, at least 20 feet tall. His voice boomed through the chamber. Enough. You are a young, foolish species. You do not understand the galaxy. There are threats out there that would destroy Earth in days, pirates, raiders, hostile empires. Without council protection, humanity will not survive. We'll take our chances, Hyunwoo said. This is your final decision? Vexthor demanded. It is. The High Chancellor looked at the other council members. They nodded to him one by one. When he turned back to Hyunwoo, his expression was cold. Then you leave us no choice. If humanity will not join willingly, you will be contained by force. We will establish a blockade around your system. No human ship will leave. No trade will occur. You will be isolated until you beg to join us. And if you resist, we will destroy your military installations and force compliance. Is that a threat? Jia asked. It is a promise, Vexthor replied. We have crushed rebellious species before. We will do so again if necessary. Hyunwoo felt his heart pounding, but he kept his face calm. This was the moment everything had been building toward. He looked up at the High Chancellor and spoke words that President Song had given him. High Chancellor, members of the Council, humanity has heard your threats. We have considered your warnings, and we have one response. We respectfully suggest you don't. Don't what? The crystal creature asked. Don't try to threaten us. Don't try to contain us, and definitely don't try to attack us. Because if you do, you will learn something that the galaxy has forgotten. Humans do not surrender. We do not bow. And we do not lose our freedom without a fight. Vexthor laughed, a terrible sound that echoed through the chamber. A fight. You think your primitive species can fight the Council? We have warships that have conquered 100 worlds. We have weapons that can crack planets. What do you have? You'll find out if you come to Earth, Hyunwoo said quietly. He turned and walked toward the exit. Jia and the security officers followed. Behind them, the council members shouted threats and demands. Hyunwoo ignored them all. He had delivered humanity's message. Now it was time to let the military deliver the rest. As the shuttle left the station, Hyunwoo sent a single encrypted message to Earth Command. 3 words that would change the galaxy forever. They took the bait. On Earth, in the command center, President Dayun Song received the message. She turned to Admiral Jae Sung Kang. The Council will send their fleet, she said. How long until they arrive? Intelligence estimates 3 to 5 days, Jae Sung replied. They'll want to strike while they think we're unprepared. Daun nodded. Alert all forces, battle stations. And Admiral, make sure they understand what happens when you threaten humanity. Jae Sung saluted. Yes, Madam President. The Council is about to learn a very painful lesson. Across the solar system, hidden forces began to move. Ships powered up their engines. Weapons charged. Soldiers took their positions. Humanity was ready for war. Fleet Commander Kalvik stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. Around his ship, 300 Council warships moved through faster than light travel toward the human home system. It was the largest punishment fleet assembled in 200 years. How much longer until we reach Earth? Kalvik asked his navigation officer. 2 hours, Commander. We will exit faster than light at the edge of their system. Kalvik felt satisfied. The humans had made a foolish choice. Now they would pay the price. He had fought in a dozen campaigns against rebellious species. This would be no different. The humans would see his fleet, panic, and surrender immediately. Remind me of the battle plan, he said to his tactical officer. Yes, Commander. We exit faster than light and form battle formation. We broadcast surrender demands. If the humans refuse, we destroy their military stations around the 4th planet Mars. Then we move to Earth and bombard their weapon installations. We avoid hitting cities, but make it clear we can destroy them if needed. Once their military is broken, they will accept Council terms. Simple and effective, Kalvik agreed. The humans are primitive. They probably have a few hundred ships at most. Nothing that can threaten this fleet. The 2 hours passed slowly. Kalvix reviewed the intelligence reports on humanity. They were a violent species, constantly fighting wars among themselves. But they had no experience fighting aliens. Their technology was centuries behind the Council. This would be over quickly. Exiting faster than light in 30 seconds, the navigation officer announced. The fleet dropped back into normal space at the edge of Earth's solar system. Kalvix looked at the display screens showing the system ahead. Everything looked normal. A yellow star with several planets orbiting it. The fourth planet, Mars, showed signs of human colonies. The third planet, Earth, glowed blue and green. Scan for human ships, Kalvix ordered. The sensor officer worked his controls, then looked up in surprise. Commander, I'm not detecting any ships. The system appears undefended. What? Kalvix moved to the sensor station. Scan again. They must have ships. Scanning again, sir. Still nothing. No ships. No defense platforms. The humans appear to have evacuated their military forces. Kalvix felt confused. Where were the human defenders? Had they really run away? Or was this some kind of trick? Proceed with caution, he ordered. Battle formation. Full shields. Weapons ready. The Council fleet moved deeper into the solar system. They passed the orbit of Neptune, then Uranus. Still no sign of human forces. Kalvix began to relax. Maybe the humans really had run. Maybe they knew they couldn't win. The fleet reached Saturn's orbit. The giant ringed planet looked beautiful in the view screen. Kalvix was almost disappointed. He had expected at least some resistance. Commander, we're picking up a transmission from Earth. Put it through. A human appeared on the screen. He was older, wearing a military uniform. His nameplate said Admiral Jae-Sung Kang. Council Fleet, this is Admiral Kang of Earth Defense Force. You have entered our system without permission. Turn around and leave, or you will be destroyed. Kalvix laughed. Destroyed by what? We see no ships, human. Your system is defenseless. That's what we wanted you to think. Jae-Sung replied with a cold smile. You're already in the trap. You just don't know it yet. The transmission ended. Kalvix felt a moment of doubt but pushed it away. The human was bluffing, trying to scare them away with empty words. Continue toward Mars, he ordered. The fleet moved past Jupiter's orbit. They were deep in the human system now. Still no sign of any threat. Kalvix began to think the human admiral was indeed bluffing. Then everything went wrong at once. Commander contacts. Hundreds of them, appearing all around us. The display screens lit up with red markers. Asteroids that had seemed normal were suddenly opening up, revealing massive weapon platforms hidden inside. Ships that had been running silent were powering up their engines and weapons. The space around the Council fleet was suddenly full of human forces. Impossible. Kalvix shouted. Where did they all come from? They were hiding, Commander. Using stealth technology we couldn't detect. On Earth, Admiral Jae-Sung watched the tactical display with satisfaction. The Council fleet was exactly where he wanted them. Surrounded, outflanked, confused. All units, he broadcast. Open fire. The asteroid platforms unleashed railgun fire. Metal slugs moving at incredible speeds crossed the distance in seconds. The Council shields lit up as they tried to stop the projectiles. But the shields were designed for energy weapons. The solid slugs punched through them like they weren't there. 3 Council ships exploded in the first volley. 10 more took critical damage. Evasive maneuvers. Kalvix screamed. Return fire. The Council fleet tried to scatter, but the humans had planned for that. More hidden platforms revealed themselves. Missile swarms launched from positions near Mars. Each missile was small, fast, and deadly. Captain Tae-Yang Lee led a squadron of stealth fighters out of hiding near one of Saturn's moons. His ships were small and hard to target. They raced toward the Council fleet, dodging defensive fire. All fighters target the carrier groups, Tae-Yang ordered. Take out their support ships first. The human fighters wove between Council vessels, firing plasma torpedoes at close range. Council carriers, which launched the aliens' own fighters, exploded one after another. Without carrier support, the Council fighters couldn't launch or recover. Commander Dongmin Han directed drone swarms from his control ship. Thousands of small drones, each one barely bigger than a person, swarmed over Council vessels. They attached to hulls and exploded, or cut through armor with plasma cutters. The Council point defense systems couldn't track targets so small and numerous. Commander, we're taking massive casualties, Kalvix's tactical officer reported. We've lost 70 ships. 100 more are damaged. How is this possible? Kalvix demanded. They're a primitive species. His communication officer looked terrified. Commander, the humans are using tactics we've never seen. They're not fighting like any species we've encountered. Their weapons are specifically designed to counter our defenses. Another wave of railgun fire tore through the council formation. The Eternal Dominion shook as rounds impacted the shields. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. Shields at 40%. Kalvix realized with growing horror that this wasn't a battle. It was a massacre. The humans had studied council tactics and technology. They had prepared specifically to fight the council. And now the trap had closed around his fleet. All ships retreat, he ordered. Jump to faster than light. We need to regroup. His navigation officer worked frantically at his controls. Then he looked up, his face pale. Commander, we can't jump. Something is blocking our faster-than-light engines. We're trapped in the system. Kalvix felt true fear for the first time in his long military career. The humans had thought of everything. They had trapped the council fleet in their own system, and now they were destroying it piece by piece. On Earth, Admiral Jae Sung allowed himself a small smile. The battle was going exactly as planned. The space around Jupiter turned into a storm of fire and metal. Council ships tried desperately to fight back, but they were surrounded and confused. Every direction they turned, more human weapons appeared. Pilot Haiwan Jung flew her fighter through the chaos with deadly precision. Her squadron had been assigned to eliminate the Council flagship's escort carriers. These were the ships that carried supplies and support fighters for the main fleet. Red Squadron, follow my lead, Haiwan called over the radio. We're going for the carriers on the flagship's left side. Her fighters dove toward their targets. Council defensive fire lit up the space around them. One of her pilots took a hit and spun away. His ship badly damaged but still intact. I'm okay, the pilot reported. Systems damaged, but I can still fight. Fall back and provide cover fire, Haiwan ordered. She didn't want to lose anyone if she could help it. Her remaining fighters reached the carriers. These were large ships not built for combat. They relied on other vessels to protect them. But those protector ships were already engaged with other human forces. Fire all weapons, Haiwan commanded. Plasma torpedoes streaked from her fighter. The other pilots fired their weapons at the same time. The carrier's shields tried to absorb the damage but failed. Explosions ripped through the ships. One carrier broke in half. Another began venting atmosphere and debris. Carriers destroyed, Haiwan reported. Moving to next target. Across the battlefield, Commander Subin-Oh directed thousands of combat drones from her control station on Mars. The drones were cheap to build and didn't risk human lives. She could afford to be aggressive with them. Drone Wing 7, swarm the battleship at coordinates 472, she ordered. 500 drones broke from their formation and rushed toward a massive council battleship. The ship's point defense guns tried to shoot them down. They destroyed dozens of drones, but hundreds more got through. The drones attached to the battleship's hull like insects. Some carried explosives. Others had cutting tools. They worked together, finding weak points in the armor and exploiting them. Within minutes, the battleship's engines went offline. It drifted helplessly, unable to maneuver. Target disabled, Subin reported. Drone Wing 7 returned for rearming. Fleet Commander Kalvix watched his fleet dying around him. Ships exploded or went dark. Crews sent distress calls. The organized battle formation had collapsed into chaos. We need to break through their lines, he told his officers. Find a weakness. Any weakness, his tactical officer pointed at the display. There, Commander. The human forces are thinner near the orbit of Mars. If we can push through, we might be able to escape to the outer system and try to repair our faster-than-light engines. All remaining ships. Form up on the Eternal Dominion. Kalvix broadcast. We're making a run for Mars orbit. About 150 council ships remained combat-capable. They grouped together and pushed toward Mars. Human forces moved to intercept, but the council ships fought with new desperation. They knew this was their only chance. Admiral Jae Sung watched the council fleet's maneuver from Earth Command. He had expected something like this. Trapped forces always tried to break out. Let them reach Mars orbit, he ordered. Then spring the second trap. The council ships fought their way forward. They actually began to push back the human forces in front of them. For a moment, Kalvix felt hope. Maybe they could escape after all. Then they reached Mars orbit and hope died. Hidden in the shadow of Mars's larger moon, Phobos, was the entire battle group of human warships. These weren't small fighters or drone platforms. These were full-size warships, each one as large as a council cruiser. And they were positioned perfectly to hit the council fleet from the side. "Fire!" commanded Captain Yoonji Song from her battleship, the Indomitable. Massive railgun batteries opened fire at point-blank range. The council ships had no time to react. The metal slugs tore through hulls designed to withstand energy weapons, but not solid projectiles at these speeds. Plasma cannons, humanity's newest weapon based on reverse-engineered alien technology but improved, fired bright blue beams. The energy was so intense it melted through council armor like butter. "All ships, full assault," Yoonji ordered. "Don't let any of them escape." The human battleships moved forward, closing the distance. This was what they had been built for. Heavy combat against capital ships. The council vessels tried to fight back, but they were battered, damaged, and demoralized. The Eternal Dominion took hit after hit. Kalvix's bridge shook with each impact. Warning alarms screamed. Sections of his ship vented into space, shields failing. Hull breaches on decks 5 through 12. Engines operating at 20%. Kalvix looked at his fleet status display. Of the 300 ships he had brought to this system, fewer than 50 remained even partially functional. This wasn't just a defeat. It was total annihilation. His communication officer spoke quietly. "Commander, the humans are broadcasting a message." Admiral Jae-sung's face appeared on the screen again. "Council fleet, this is your final warning. Power down your weapons and surrender. Your faster-than-light engines have been disabled by our interdictor technology. You cannot escape. Surrender now and your wounded will receive medical treatment. Your crews will be held as prisoners, but they will not be harmed. Continue fighting and you will all die." Kalvix looked around his bridge. His officers were injured. His ship was dying. His fleet was destroyed. The humans had beaten them completely. He had two choices: die with honor, taking as many humans with him as possible, or surrender and live with shame. "Commander, what are your orders?" his tactical officer asked. Kalvix thought of all the species the council had conquered, all the threats they had made, all the times they had told weaker species to surrender or be destroyed. Now the council was the weak one. Now they were the ones being given that choice. "Power down all weapons," he said quietly. "Signal surrender to the human forces." Across the battlefield, the remaining council ships went dark. Their weapons powered down. Their shields dropped. The Battle of Seoul was over. On Earth, in the command center, President Da-yoon Song watched the tactical display as red markers turned blue. The council fleet had surrendered. "Total casualties?" she asked. 14 fighters lost, 7 damaged beyond repair, Admiral Jae-sung reported. 312 personnel killed or wounded. 2 orbital platforms destroyed. 1 battleship with moderate damage. Da-yoon felt the weight of those losses. 300 people who would never go home. But she also knew it could have been much worse. And the council fleet? 240 ships destroyed. 60 damaged and surrendered. Estimated council casualties in the tens of thousands. It's the worst military defeat the council has suffered in 500 years. Da-eun nodded slowly. Humanity had won. They had faced the council's punishment fleet and destroyed it. The message to the galaxy was clear. Earth would not bow. News of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. The council tried to suppress the information, but it was impossible. Too many species had monitoring stations. Too many traitors passed through human space. Within 3 days, every species in the galaxy knew that the council's punishment fleet had been destroyed. President Da-eun Song stood in the rebuilt council hall on the Jupiter station. The humans had captured the station after the battle and converted it into a diplomatic center. Now she prepared to address the galaxy directly. "Are we ready?" she asked Ambassador Hyunwoo Park. "The communication channels are open. Every species with space travel capability can hear this broadcast. It's the largest audience anyone has ever addressed." Da-yoon nodded. She looked at the camera that would carry her words to billions of beings across thousands of worlds. She took a breath and began. "People of the galaxy, I am President Da-yoon Song of Earth. 3 days ago, the Galactic Council sent a fleet to attack my home system. They came to force humanity into submission. They came to make us surrender our freedom. They failed." She paused, letting that sink in. "The Council has ruled this galaxy for centuries through fear and threats. They offer friendship but deliver slavery. They promise protection but practice exploitation. We have evidence of 47 species living under Council control. Species that are forced to work, forced to provide resources, forced to obey laws they never agreed to. Daun activated a holographic display. It showed the footage from Captain Tae Yang's reconnaissance mission. Images of the Valaran people working in terrible conditions. Other species living in poverty while council members lived in luxury. This is what council membership really means. This is the future they wanted for humanity. We said no, and when they tried to force us, we defended ourselves. We will always defend ourselves. In the council's home system, hundreds of light years away, High Chancellor Vexthor watched the broadcast with growing rage. Around him, the other council members argued and shouted. "She is making us look weak," one council member said. "We are weak," another replied. "We sent 300 ships and lost them all. How can we claim strength after that?" "We need to send another fleet," Vexthor said. "A larger one. We must crush the humans before this rebellion spreads." But even as he said it, he knew it was too late. The rebellion was already spreading. On the Valaran homeworld, the same planet Captain Tae Yang had observed, something amazing was happening. The Valaran people were rising up. They had seen the human broadcast. They had seen a species say no to the council and win. Now they wanted the same freedom. Workers at the mining sites stopped working. Citizens in the overcrowded cities marched through the streets. They carried signs with words in their own language that translated to freedom, and we are not slaves. The council overseers tried to stop them. They sent security forces. They made threats. But there were billions of Valarans and only thousands of council personnel. The revolution couldn't be stopped. Similar uprisings began on other council-controlled worlds. The subject species had lived under oppression for so long. Now finally they saw hope. Back on the Jupiter station, President Song continued her broadcast. Humanity will not join the Galactic Council, but we do not want to be alone in the galaxy either. We believe in cooperation. We believe in friendship. We believe in freedom. So today I announce the formation of a new alliance. We call it the Free Stars Coalition. Ambassador Hyunwoo stepped forward with a document. The Free Stars Coalition is based on simple principles, Daun explained. Membership is voluntary. No species is forced to join. Each member keeps complete control of their own government, military, and resources. Members agree to defend each other if attacked. Members agree to trade fairly and resolve disputes peacefully. That's all. No slavery, no exploitation, just free species working together as equals. She looked directly into the camera. Any species that wishes to join the Free Stars Coalition is welcome. Come to Earth, talk to us. See for yourselves that we mean what we say. And if your current government won't let you leave the council, remember what we proved 3 days ago. Freedom is worth fighting for. The broadcast ended. For a moment there was silence across the galaxy. Then the responses began flooding in. Dr. Jia Kim monitored the incoming communications from her station on Earth. President Song, we're receiving thousands of messages. Hundreds of species want to join the coalition. Some are asking for military assistance to break free from the council. What about the free species? Daeun asked. The ones that were never part of the council? They're interested too. They've been avoiding the council for years, hiding on the edges of explored space. Now they want to join something that can protect them without controlling them. Intelligence Director Min Ho-yoon entered the room with urgent news. Madam President, the council is in chaos. Half their member species are in open revolt. The others are demanding reforms. The council's ruling species are arguing among themselves about how to respond. Some want to attack us again. Others want to negotiate. But none of them want to admit they were wrong. Let them argue, Daun said. We'll focus on building something better. Over the next weeks, ships from dozens of species arrived at Earth. Some came from council-controlled worlds, their crews risking everything to escape. Others came from independent species that wanted protection and friendship. Ambassador Hyunwoo met with each delegation personally. He listened to their stories. He explained the coalition's principles. He welcomed them as equals, not subjects. The Valaran people were among the first to send a delegation. Their leader, an elderly female named Kira, stood before Hyunwoo with tears in her eyes. For 80 years we have lived under council rule, she said. We thought that was just how the galaxy worked. Then you showed us it didn't have to be that way. Your victory gave us hope. Your invitation gave us a chance. We want to join the Free Stars Coalition. Welcome, Hyunwoo said warmly. You're free now. No one will exploit you again. On Mars, Dr. Young Mi-han continued her research. But now she had help. Scientists from other species shared their knowledge freely. Together they developed new technologies that benefited everyone. This is how progress should work, young Mi told her new alien colleagues, sharing ideas, not hoarding them. Building together, not competing. Admiral Jae-sung Kang organized the coalition's defense forces. Ships from different species trained together, learning each other's tactics and strengths. The goal was simple: make sure no one could threaten any coalition member the way the Council had threatened humanity. Captain Tae-yang Lee led exploration missions to find other species that might want to join. Each time he made contact, he repeated the same message. We come as friends, not conquerors. We offer partnership, not servitude. 6 months after the Battle of Seoul, the Free Stars Coalition had grown to include 30 species. More were joining every week. They established a council chamber on Earth, but this council was different. Every species had one vote, regardless of age or power. Decisions required majority agreement. No species could force their will on others. President Daeun Song addressed the first full coalition assembly. Representatives from 30 species filled the chamber, each one choosing to be there. We started something new here, she told them, something the galaxy hasn't seen in a long time. A true alliance of equals. Will it be easy? No. We all have different cultures, different needs, different perspectives. We'll argue. We'll disagree. But we'll do it as free beings, not as masters and servants. The representatives applauded. Some species made sounds of approval in their own languages. It was chaotic and loud and beautiful. Meanwhile, the old Galactic Council was collapsing. Species were leaving daily. The ruling races tried to hold on to power, but their empire was crumbling. They could send more fleets, but humanity had proven those fleets could be beaten. They could make more threats, but no one was listening anymore. High Chancellor, Vex Thor sent one final message to Earth. It appeared on President Song's screen late one night. You have destroyed the order that kept the galaxy stable for centuries, he said. His voice was bitter. You have unleashed chaos. Species will fight each other. There will be wars, and it will be your fault. Daeun considered her response carefully. When she replied, her words were calm but firm. The order you created was built on oppression. If stability requires slavery, then it's not worth having. Yes, there will be challenges ahead. Freedom is messy and difficult, but it's better than the alternative. We gave the galaxy a choice, Chancellor. We showed them they could say no to tyrants. What happens next is up to them. She ended the transmission. Vex Thor never contacted Earth again. Years passed. The Free Stars Coalition continued to grow. Trade flourished between member species. Technology advanced rapidly as knowledge was shared freely. Disputes arose, but they were settled through negotiation, not force. Some species chose to remain independent, neither joining the coalition nor staying with the remnants of the council. Humanity respected that choice. Freedom meant the freedom to stay alone if you wanted. The galaxy was changing. The old empire of fear was dying. Something new was being born. And it all started because one species looked at the most powerful force in the galaxy and said one simple word: no.